network security. We just finished up week 13. We talked about the connected globe. We kind of did a full review. We're currently working on the Palo Alto materials, fundamentals and gateway. Connected globe, understanding, that's pretty straightforward. We talked about security. There's that life cycle, where reconnaissance, weaponization, you try to infiltrate, eventually you load some, like here, an example, command and control, and then you have the actual exploitation. We mentioned World Health Organization. People are simulating or pretending to be them in order to be able to put, nefarious or bad files onto computers. A lot of research institutions are being attacked, and health hospitals and so forth. It's really a shame. In a time like we have now with the COVID, that people are attacking the very places that we're trying to save people's lives. So that was an example. We talked about cloud security. We talked about NIST, and they give, the public cloud, community cloud, public, everybody can access it. A community cloud is a certain group accesses or uses that information. A private cloud, you could think of ours at NIAC. Okay, we've got systems that people can come in from the internet and access. In AWS, we'll talk about a virtual private cloud. Then you have hybrid. You have some here, private cloud, and some that you access via the internet, public cloud, or some combination, public, community, so forth. TCP, great invention, right? We talked about a couple of things, DNS, DHCP, the advantages of IP6, helping us, maybe less with this. We talked about the OSI and the TCP IP model, and this whole idea of encapsulation. Protocol data unit moves, up and down in the model, gets encapsulated, gets decapsulated when it comes back. Packets at the network layer, transport layer makes segments, then we have packets, and then we have frames, and then we put the bits on the medium. Also with encapsulation, when places talk about tunneling, you can take, whatever data or whatever you have, and you can encapsulate that into something else and then send it, and the idea of tunneling, you send it through a medium, like if you're going to use a VPN through the internet, a couple different ways of doing that, but you can enclose the entire data and then add an address on the outside, encrypt all this, and add a new address here to get it through the internet, and then decapsulate that stuff on the other side, so you create this idea of tunnel. You can do the same thing between IP6 and maybe you have an IP version 4. Whoops. Let me undo that a little bit. Maybe you have an IP version 4 address. You could take, if you have an IP6 network, you can encapsulate that with some IP4 addresses, send it through the IP4 network, and then you take that stuff off and put it back into your IP6 network when it gets on the other end. Okay, still the 16th. Server and system administration. We talked about there's all kinds of different levels of understanding, especially understanding who does what, compared to a network administrator. There's a lot of things, directory services, users, resources, all the services offered, this ability for people to log in, keep track, authenticate, so forth and so forth. This whole, the scope of who, and having a baseline, having log files, and then documenting, this whole idea of managing and troubleshooting networks, whether you're server and system administrator or network administrator, or maybe you're both in a small company. For troubleshooting, you need a structured process when you troubleshoot. Some process you can follow. A lot of people use the OSI model as a way to troubleshoot. If you're not sure, work your bottom up, check your physical, data link, network layers, and so forth. The whole idea of a help desk, and that can be broken down. Here at the college, they have the infrastructure, and they have the users desk, help desk, users desktop and labs. That kind of falls under one category. The infrastructure falls under another category. Yeah, if you have any of those issues, you go to whatever tier they put you at there. If you have infrastructure issues, you would go to these people. There is this fundamentals of IT operations, and we looked that up. The students can look that up. Information technology, I forget, libraries, something like that. But they have a framework of what you can follow. It's good information. Last page, I talked about network, Linux, troubleshooting, talked about firewalls, packet firewalls, stateful session firewalls, proxy gateways. We talked about those. I guess I really should list that here. Application gateways. This deeper packet inspection. Firewall packet. You basically are looking at packet stateful. You look at more of the connection. You see the session. We talked about inspecting. Gateway does all of these plus more deep packet inspection. Then the step above all that would be they do basically all this plus next generation, where they actually look at application IDs, content, look at the content, look at the users, and they track it all based on all that information. Secure socket layer or transport layer, security, more of those on that later on, or most of that's covered in the data security class. Intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, VPNs. We should be comfortable with all those. The work in the e-learning for the VPNs in this work here, in I believe it's chapter 6 of the Gateway course, is really good. It's really worth your time to go through and look at it. That's it.